Good morning. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Educate, enlighten, entertain, mindfulness. And today, on this episode of Monday Tips with your host, Lillian Caldwell, I am going to provide you with a variety of tips for not only frequent flying by those who do it, but people who don't fly that often, but they thought they would pass some tips along to you so you can protect yourself. It was written by John Wedding on October 18th, 2014. And even though that's a good long ways down the line, I it's under mightybargainhunter.com. So that should tell you. So he goes on to say that he's not a frequent flyer and rules and policies change every second. So he decided that you need to understand and know what's going on in the airlines so that you'll be prepared for when you need to book yourself for a ticket, which is now done digitally, and get on that airplane. So these are the rules and tips for how to prepare. His number one tip is when booking the flight, use an aggregator. That's aggregator. And what is an aggregator? It lets you compare flight prices for a bunch of airlines side by side. Travel City and cheapair.com are fine choices. There's also Google Flights if you have more time to buy your ticket, and check the rebates to get a really cheap ticket. 2, be on the watch for upsells. Travel City offer a number of opportunities for me to spend more money on my flight, not only during the registration process, but after as well. So expect a number of cross sells, such as trip insurance, rental car, and hotel combos, for example. 3, take some time to understand the rules for your ticket. Look at transferability. Can you transfer the ticket? Always have a contingency plan. That's my tip. What about changing your itinerary? Is there going to be a cost? What about flight cancellations? They happen all the time now. So check that out. Know what you're entitled to. Now, for example, Southwest Airlines, you cannot bring on carry on luggage, and they charge you $25 for each bag you bring on. Know what you're entitled to and what you're not. And it's what is not that's important. 4, take some time to understand the rules for your baggage. What are the size and weight for carrying on and check baggage? Well, all of the airlines no longer have carry on, so you don't have to worry about that. What are the restrictions for liquids? Can they be carried on? I took the extra step of making sure that each dimension restriction was met individually and it wasn't the total of all of them. Think about the nature of the trip and leave room for what you're taking back. If you're going to a conference, you don't have to check, but if you're going sightseeing, you may want to bring something back like a dress for your wife or a vase for your mother. You need to make sure that you have packing materials in your suitcase and make room for whatever object you believe you're bringing back with you. Investigate parking options if you're driving your car to the airport. But if you're parking your car near the airport, check around for garages that may have a better rate than the airport. Investigate options for getting from the destination airport to your hotel. Most hotels do provide shuttles, but it's not a given. And is it a better deal than using a taxi? Check around. Check in at home if possible. And this turns out to be a big time saver. I had my boarding pass in hand as I entered the airport, and he went straight to the security line. But you have to be in the watch for more upsells on check in. You are offered opportunities to double or triple your airline miles for a fee. I was also offered an opportunity to rescue my paltry catch of miles from expiration. You are offered a few magazine subscriptions before with the miles from your last trip. So you need to be aware of these things. That may cost you a lot more or the equivalent to one ticket from the upsells. So be forewarned. Plan not to check baggage if possible. Well, you have to check it because you can't carry it on. Leave plenty of time to get to the airport. The standard guidance is to arrive at the airport 2 hours before departure for domestic flights and 3 hours before departure for international flights. Make sure you give yourself extra time if you live 50 miles plus away from the airport because of traffic, construction, especially during the summer and spring. Consider taking a longer but more familiar route to the airport. Don't decide to take a shortcut and you've never used it before. Take the path that you're already used to. Bring snacks, especially if you have kids. I used to travel with my son and I carried them. First of all, it's cheaper. Second of all, I knew what he was putting into his stomach and mouth. And third of all, I just felt better traveling with it because I knew he was going to ask for it as soon as we stepped out of the house. Save those trial sizes that you get from your dental visits because they're easier and smaller to pack. And better than going out and buying those specially prepared items at the drugstore. And if you're taking a trip soon and you don't fly often, my best tip is to give yourself more cushion than you think you need and plan a bit more than you otherwise would. That way you won't be completely taken at every turn. So those are the tips if you're not frequently flying. And next week we'll delve into tips from the frequent flyers themselves to help you get around nationally or internationally without getting fleeced. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Monday Tips with Lillian is sponsored by Ruby.ai. Check us out, aiwithlillian.com. It'll take you to a webpage. Take a look at the demo for Ruby. Also read all the testimonials and then sign up for a monthly subscription. And also by Conscious Research Solutions. Go over to passionateworldtalkradio.com/research made simple blog. It'll answer all your questions about your pain points. Plus, you have the opportunity to sign up for a free 15-minute consultation. That's passionateworldradio.com/research made simple blog. Also, if you want to hear the whole truth, nothing but the truth, then go over to passionateworldtalkradio.com/donation. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, next week, second week of June, learn how to travel tips from frequent flyers. Have a great week.